Hello viewers, welcome to this lecture on aquatic productivity. Now, what is aquatic productivity? Aquatic productivity basically refers to the rate at which aquatic organisms, particularly autotrophic organisms, are able to convert organic matter into usable form, usually carried out by organisms such as the plants, the algae, and the phytoplankton. So basically, they are able to do that through the process of photosynthesis, which makes food available for living organisms. Now let us look at the aquatic food chain, and we'll also look at the aquatic food web. The aquatic food chain basically is very interesting to know. Basically, the phytoplankton, the algae, and some aquatic plants are the primary producers. In the freshwater ecosystem, basically the algae and the phytoplankton play a very key role as primary producers. But in the estuarine ecosystem, we have the mangroves included to these as primary producers. Now, when the primary producers manufacture their own food, they are being consumed by minute organisms, especially the phytoplanktons are fed on by zooplankton. The zooplankton are in turn being eaten by smaller fish, and the smaller fish are being fed on by larger fish. Okay, and the chain can also continue to humans. So the phytoplankton are said to be the producers, or the primary producers, and the phytoplankton are being eaten by zooplankton, which are the primary consumers. The primary consumers, zooplankton, are being fed on by small fish, which are said to be the secondary consumers, and the secondary consumers are being fed on by larger fish, which are said to be the tertiary consumers. Okay, so that's the aquatic food chain. In the estuarine environment as well, similar food chain occurs, especially in the mangrove environment. The mangrove leaf litter serve as source of food to estuarine organisms. They feed on the mangrove leaves, roots, and stems. Okay, and the mangroves are the primary producers, or are the producers, and they are being fed on by primary consumers such as the periwinkles or mangrove crabs. Okay, let's now take the mangrove crabs or periwinkles for example. Okay, the mangrove crabs feed on the mangrove detritus. They are in turn being fed on by some fish, okay, which are the secondary consumers. The fish are in turn fed on by maybe birds. Okay, those are the tertiary consumers. So basically, that's an aquatic food chain. Now the aquatic food web. Let's take the estuarine ecosystem for example. The mangrove leaf litter is being fed on by crabs, by periwinkles, by shrimps, and these three, for instance, are the primary consumers of the producers, the mangroves. Now the crabs, for instance, are being fed on by fish. The fish can be fed on by the smaller fish can be fed on by a larger fish, or that same smaller fish can be fed on by a bird. Okay, so you now have the mangroves followed by crab, smaller fish to bigger fish, and then bigger fish, smaller fish to bird. Now these two, the bigger fish, are being fed on by man. Okay, or man feeds on the smaller fish. The same thing, the shrimps feed on the mangrove detritus, and they are in turn being fed on by fish, and then the smaller fish are being fed on by larger fish. Okay, now the same smaller fish can be fed on by other organisms, including crabs like the blue crab, Calinectis amnicola. Okay, that also forms a complex feeding relationship. So when you have a complex feeding relationship in an ecosystem, is said to be a food web. So that's an aquatic food web. In the freshwater environment, similar things can also occur. The phytoplankton, which are the primary producers, are fed on by the zooplankton. The zooplankton are fed on either by shrimps or by smaller fish. the shrimps can still be fed on by the smaller fish, and the smaller fish are also in turn fed on by the larger fish. Okay, now humans can feed on both the small fish, the shrimps, and also the larger fish. That's what also happens in the freshwater environment. Thanks a lot for watching. I am Dr. Gijo. I pray Harry. Please keep watching more of my videos from my YouTube and TikTok channels.